And we get back to Jarrett Allen because I've mentioned him like
Oh,
15 times, and you
yes.
just refuse to let me talk about Jarrett Allen. Uh, for 100, right? Like
500,
I
yeah.
don't, I don't. I have a hard time
You look so
understanding
stressed out
what.
right now.
Well, it's like I'm trying to put like why. It's like you. So okay, I don't think it's bad because you could talk me into him being able to play with Evan Mobley because the whole selling point on Mobley is he could do guard stuff. He didn't. We think he has a projectable 3-point shot. He's defensively good enough to guard anybody. So sure, but like the optimal version of a guy that can do that is to play him at center. Like that's the best way to use an Evan Mobley type insofar as there are any Evan Mobley types. It's a rare thing. It's not You're not getting the maximum value out of a guy you use the third pick on by saying, well, he can play the 4 next to a conventional center. Like, no, this guy needs to be your center. Jarrett Allen is a rim running lob threat that defends the basket, and
Some
that
switch, not a
guy,
ton. Some.
I need to see way more. Like yes, theoretical some switch. Like you're not gonna convince me that. I mean, he's no Daniel Tice. Let's get that.
How did we leave with Daniel Tice being one of the 5 best centers in the game off this
I don't know.
podcast?
Yeah, right. That's good. Why didn't he get 200 million?
There's also
No,
maybe
like Alan, I just don't understand. I don't understand why you're paying $100 million to a conventional center, and you're not a good team. This is like I don't. This is how you stay a bad team: is you spend huge resources on the most replaceable, fungible position in the league. It makes no sense to me. I don't care that he's young. I don't care. Like it doesn't make sense. You're gonna have to talk me way into this one.
I wouldn't have given him that much. I was surprised with that number. I guess I don't hate it as much as you, but that's a great point where it's you don't maximize the third pick in the draft by saying, well, he can play the 4. Like that's some Al Horford, Joel Embiid logic in Philly.
Right.
So I totally get that. And you also, we assume that Jarrett Allen's young and we assume that these deals can be moved later on. Like Kevin Love is still on the Cavs roster after signing his extension. He was an all-star. So
and he can shoot.
Right. And there seems like there's unnecessary risk there. And I come back to this is who was the team? Who was the team they couldn't give him a 5th year? Who was the team that was going 4-80 for Allen? The Hornets punted on that with the idea of going after Holmes or Allen essentially before free agency by acquiring Mason Plumlee and even drafting Kai Jones. So and I know teams don't necessarily want to play hardball. Like there's that goodwill, but then there's also these weird value propositions where it's like, okay, I know Jarrett Allen is younger and is more transformative defensively. Richaun Holmes is just ridiculously good on offense and serviceable on defense. And he's getting average annual $11.5 million a year versus Allen getting 20. And then there's even this, and maybe you feel differently about this. John Collins is probably going to sign for 5 and 125. Is John Collins only $5 million a year per more valuable than Jarrett Allen? I'm honestly asking, and I would argue no. I think he's more.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not a huge Collins fan. But I think Collins is. Well, first of all, Holmes is objectively a better player than Jarrett Allen. I think. Like if you just put the total package
just not
together,
Daniel Tice. No one's better than him.
Nobody is. Nobody. I'd rather have Holmes if the money were equal. Now, I wouldn't pay Holmes $100 million, obviously, but like I think that would have what Holmes got kind of feels a lot closer to what Allen is going to be worth. Like now, the age thing is and the Cavs did. Actually, they just like snuck into the Harden trade to get him. So it's not even like they were pot committed and like had to, make sure he didn't walk. They're actually, plus Mobley, like you could absolutely let this guy walk. Who cares?
Their sign and trade scenarios had to be, I'm sure Toronto would have gotten involved in a Jarrett Allen sign and trade for somebody.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think your point's the best one of like, where was who was offering 4 for 80? Like I don't know. I don't know where that offer was.